on bond. Other than that, sir, do you understand the bond conditions? You'll get a copy of this. Do you understand the bond conditions that I read off to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, hey, best of luck to you, sir. And you can walk out the back and they'll let you out of the door there.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a blessed day.
All right, you too, sir. Yeah. McCormick is coming up next.
You can go ahead, just push the door open gently.
It should be open.
Yeah.
This one is Alyssa's fault, for the record. Hello, everybody.
Excuse me.
Calling case prosecutor order number 2024-241.
Sir, excuse me, before I proceed, I want to deal with a lawyer before I proceed and go any further. So I'm going to remove myself from here so I can talk to a lawyer.
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to. There is a lawyer here.
Where?
I'm getting ready to put you in a breakout room so you can talk with the lawyer.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. Okay, calling case prosecutor order number 24-24129. Sir, at the jail, state your name for the record, please.
Samuel McCormick.
Okay, counsel appearance, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Jeffrey Glazer, P46892 on behalf of Mr. McCormick. Did have a chance to meet with Mr. McCormick in the breakout room. I did advise him of his rights, the charges against him, the maximum penalties. We waived the reading and stand on mute. He will need a court attorney at the next hearing, Judge.
Okay, the court indicates that your client stands mute. Court-appointed counsel is granted in this matter. I'd like to address bond counsel.
Yes, Judge. My client's 40 years of age. He's a long-term resident of the area. He's actually living in Belleville, Judge. He has several jobs. He works as a dock and landscaping worker. He also works at Refresh at the mall, Judge, and he works as a vending machine business as well. He was supposed to be at work at 10 o'clock today. Unfortunately, he missed that, but his job is still there, but it is in jeopardy. Having said that, Judge, I don't think he has a significant criminal history. I'm asking to consider a personal bond or a tether if he could get out, get back to work. He won't have any contact with the alleged victim.
Okay. I do need an address if he has one, that he's more than willing to provide support with the zip code.
Your Honor, if you don't mind, man, at the end of the day, I know this is just the steps in the process. My address is, I was picked up by my girlfriend and brought here on the Thursday.
Okay, hold on, 76. Yeah, I want to make sure I get the address first, if you don't mind, if you have it. Where is that?
It's Kirkbridge. It's on. I don't even have my ID here, man. I don't have my ID, my funds.
Spell the street for me. Yeah, spell the street for me.
Yep, and it's in Benboro.
Okay, I got you.
No, I'm not from this area, as the lawyer said, that I'm a resident of the area.
Where is it located? What city is that
in? It's in Wayne County, sir. That's where I'm from. That's where the young lady picked me up from. I don't even stay out here, sir.
Okay. Okay, so before I get to addressing the bond counsel, I'm going to order that your client not have any direct or indirect contact with the complaining witness in this matter.
Sir, excuse me.
Well, no, I need to finish. I got to finish, and then we're going to let you talk, and then we'll let your...
But I got a question for you before you say that on the record. She is a supervisor of mine at a temp service that I also get side work from, as I was telling the gentleman. So does that mean I can't work for that temp service? because she dispatches me for jobs.
Yeah, well, what I do is I always go over everything first, and then I take questions from you and your attorney after that. And then, so let me go through my process first, then bring that up again once I'm done, because I'm going to ask you a question when I'm done. And then you and your attorney can both ask me questions after that. So again, you're not to have any direct or indirect contact with the complaining witness. Talisha Reed, Talisha, Reed, R-E-I-D. You will not return to the premises known as 555 Montana Avenue in Pontiac, Michigan. You will not assault, beat, molest, or in any way verbally harass or intimidate or threaten any witnesses in this matter. Personally appear for all court appearances. Do not leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court, and immediately notify the court in writing of any change of address or phone number. You will not possess any firearms, sir, or other dangerous weapons. Refrain from using alcohol, THC, marijuana, illegal drugs, or abusing any medication. The court's not ordering that you test for those things. You must contact pretrial services, and you will get a copy of everything I'm going over at the 50th District Court in Pontiac within 24 hours of you being released. No new criminal offenses while you're out on bond. The court is going to require that you be, I haven't gotten there yet. The court is going to require that you be placed on a GPS tether prior to your release with a hot zone of 2 to 3 miles from the address of 555 Montana Avenue in Pontiac, Michigan, which is the address of the alleged complaining witness in this matter.
Why would I be getting a tether?
Provide the court with a valid address. Provide the court with a valid address within 24 hours of your release. Your next court date is going to be your probable cause conference. This is a felony matter. Your next court date is going to be your probable cause conference, which is scheduled for 1:30 p.m. And you have an exam scheduled for November 12th of 2024 at 1:30 p.m. also. This matter will be heard in the 50th District Court in Pontiac. So far, do you understand what I read off to you?
Yes, sir, but I have a question.
Okay, I got one more thing. I have to set your bond. I just wanted to know if you understood that part. Now let me set your bond. And then we'll take your questions, and then we'll hear from your
But
attorney
if
as
you
well.
charge it, if you give me a bond to pay cash, I can't pay nothing. So it don't even make no sense why you told me about the tether. And if you put me on the tether, sir, as the gentleman stated, I work in the mall setting. That's kind of embarrassing to be trying to deal with the public on the tether. I'm not even from out here, so I can't come out here without her permission, period. She picks me up.
Okay.
So I don't have no plans coming out here.
Okay.
But I
So
work
the allegations.
I work in a public place with the public community.
Okay. The allegations involve a felony of 5 years, also in violence of assault of nature, which is count 2,
Man,
which
that
is
ain't
the
even my
domestic
house,
violence
sir.
nature.
That ain't even
So
my house.
bond will be in the amount of $5,000 cash surety, no 10%.
Where you
Counsel, do you
nowhere. So
understand?
where
Counsel,
I'm
do you, Counsel, do you have any questions at this point?
No, Judge.
Okay, we're all
It ain't
set.
no sense for no
Take your
tether.
time. You can walk out the back, and we're all set. The door should be open.
Yep, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That performance gets an F minus.
The matter was referred
Sit in
for a
jail.
pre-sentence report and a drug and alcohol evaluation. We are set.
Okay, I have to thank who put this on there in Discord for me. Prude. Also, Court Cam. Court Cam is awesome. Check them out. They got a lot of good stuff. I would not even know that there was a Minecraft courtroom in Cuyahoga County if it wasn't for Court Cam. If you want to see this, I put a link to the original video if you want to see it without me talking over it. But here you get to hear from the world's foremost authority on naughty nurses weighing in. So, there's that.
For sentencing today, those evaluations have been completed. The state has had the opportunity to review those reports. The state of Ohio is prepared to proceed today, Your Honor. And just for the record, the defendant does have 12 days of jail time credit at this time.
All right, Mr. Fatica. Good afternoon, Your Honor. I've had an opportunity to review the PSR and the psychiatric evaluation of the case. We're ready to go forward. Go ahead. As you can see from the report, Ms. Jurnaczek has no prior criminal history, no convictions of any kind, I don't believe. There is a joint for community control sanctions here. We'd ask the court to
He
consider.
was charged with a felony.
Imposing the recommendation included in the psych evaluation. Mr. Nasick was in a couple of abusive relationships, one her marriage, the other relationship that just ended a month or so ago. I think she would benefit for some counseling to deal with the trauma from those experiences. But again, we'd ask for community control sanctions with the recommendations concerned in the psychiatric report.
All right, Mr. Janasic, what do you want to tell me?
What do you want me to, what are you asking me?
What?
What are you asking me?
You can say anything you want for me to consider before I sentence you, so what would you like to tell me?
I've already started bettering myself and making sure I'm committed to never putting myself in a position like this ever again.
And what do you mean, putting yourself in a position?
Just being around good people and being a good person and helping others.
What about the situation with Miss Myers?
What would you like to know?
Well, I'd like to know what happened.
I entered a guilty plea, not because I'm admitting necessarily guilt, but I
Well,
understand.
sure you are, because I asked you the question.
Yeah.
If you understood that by entering a guilty plea, you were fully admitting your guilt to the offense. So you didn't do anything with regard to Miss Myers? Are you telling me you administered the drug to her as you were supposed to?
Yes, sir. Yes.
But it didn't show up in her test the following day.
Correct.
Why is that?
Oh, this is awkward. This is the wrong judge to lie to. He's going to make you stew in it. I love it.
The lab report that I have also states that her other medications that she took, even the morning of the drug test, were not in her urine as well.
Are you telling me that, what can you tell me about the patent situation?
There wasn't a situation. I did my job fully as I'm supposed to.
And what about the Lucci situation?
Same thing.
What are we doing? Well, then what are we doing here? Why are we here for a sentencing if you didn't do anything?
I wanted to plea with the Alford plea.
Well, but it wasn't an Alford plea.
Right. I didn't have necessarily proper education or counsel on this.
Oh, sure you did. I mean, this guy's a really good lawyer. I've known him for 20 years.
I think it was maybe a conflict.
10 of it sitting here, 10 of it before that, having cases with him, against him, okay? So
Yeah, you picked the wrong guy to try to throw in front of the bus, under the bus in front of this judge. But good luck.
he knows exactly what he's doing. He's very smart, very good at what he does.
I agree. I just,
Now, do you have a problem with drugs?
no,
Have you ever had a problem with drugs?
no.
Why did you take that Dilaudid home on that one occasion?
It was just an accident. And I
How did
admitted
get in
it
your-
and I
how did
took it
get in your
back.
bag if it was just an accident?
From after watching the videos, I had carried it around with me.
Why? Why would you carry a drug around with you instead of just taking it where you get it from and administer it? Why would you carry it around?
So my employer, I was going to give it to her when I was clocking out, and that morning, plus I had COVID, that morning it was a snowstorm and management didn't come in. I had worked like 5 or 6 shifts in a row, different hours, and schedules, and that was a third shift that I was leaving, and it just went in my bag with the rest of my paperwork and stuff. And when they were calling me, I was sleeping from being up. And when I finally answered the call, I didn't think I had it, but I dumped my bag out and it was in there. Which I looked at,
Who's Dr. Demagon?
pain management.
And have you ever seen Demagon?
I did for 6 months,
When?
like 10 years ago, maybe.
What drugs did he prescribe to you?
Percocet
And how long did you take Percocet?
for the 6 months.
When was that? What year was that?
I'm really not sure. It was quite a long time ago, though.
Did you develop a Percocet habit?
No,
It seems like you and I and maybe other people are in a like in parallel universes, because you don't seem very attached to reality on this situation, because you clearly did what you were alleged to have done. You didn't take the Dilaudid by mistake. Okay?
it was never even opened.
Yeah, well, you make it very difficult for me
I apologize.
because, well, I don't know that an apology is appropriate. I mean, it's just the way it is.
It's not my intention.
Because you clearly did a lot of things wrong with the intention of taking those drugs, to use those drugs, in my opinion, as I objectively sit here and look at this. And everything else, everything that happened, you've got an excuse for. A well-thought-out excuse that doesn't make any sense on any of these occasions. It just doesn't. I think the Lucci thing, you have a medication in the book when you weren't even there. Well, how's that possible?
It wasn't. It was like I wrote the date backwards or something on the book. And none of this, I never had any problem until I told them I was going in front of the board of nursing. And literally within 10 days, they started telling me that I did this with this person and this with this person. And then again, tried to fire me again. I had reached out to the board. I drove there and had a meeting. I had begged them not to please not let me tell my employer because this is going to start all over again. And it, within a week, it did. I told my employer on the 18th of April of 23 that I was going in front of the board. I went in front of the board on the 21st, and by the time I came back on the 2nd or the 3rd was my first write-up for Mr. Lucci.
For which you did nothing improper.
The bosses sat me down, we went over it. I believe I got an education, or I think it was an education.
What does that mean?
Just where they go over the steps of the process of signing things out, and
Why? Because you did something improper?
I wrote the date or the time backwards or something like that.
I mean, the tone of this whole thing is that your ex-husband was out to get you, the ex-boyfriend was out to get you, the nursing home was out to get you, your phone was hacked, your email was hacked. And all that added up to a big setup where you ended up with a criminal conviction. That seems to be the tone of things. You have a problem with marijuana?
No,
No? Did you ever have a problem with marijuana?
no, sir.
Okay. So your psych report, they say you meet the criteria for cannabis use disorder due to your history of use starting around your early 20s, with the last use being 7 or 8 months ago. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
It was just on occasion.
Why?
I'm not sure why.
So I don't know what there's a joint recommendation for community control. And I'm wondering, what am I supposed to do with you on, what conditions am I supposed to impose upon you on community control if there's nothing wrong? If there's nothing to rehabilitate, what am I supposed to, why would I put you on community control? I mean, part of the machinations of these statutes is to punish you and to rehabilitate you. What's to rehabilitate if there's nothing to rehabilitate?
I believe that I think differently than other people, and I think talking to a counselor or a psychiatrist would be helpful.
For what? For what purpose?
Just to deal with things like I have time management issues, organization issues. When someone asks me like the year or time, I really can't say. I don't know if it's I don't pay attention or if I'm just different than other people. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, that's not even what I'm talking about. I mean, there are a series of facts in this case which add up to you doing exactly what they accused you of doing. And you seem either reluctant or unable to accept reality. So there's a detachment from reality here that gets in the way of any rehabilitation.
It sure does. I really am starting to like this judge.
Because you clearly were taking drugs that you attributed to patients. And my pretty good guess is you were taking them because you have some problem with drugs that may or may not have developed through your association with Demagon. That's pretty clear to me. Now, you are either unable to accept that that's happened or unwilling to accept that that's happened. It's one of those two things. So I quite frankly don't know what to do with you. I mean, when somebody's on probation for the purposes of rehabilitation, the point is to rehabilitate. And if the person believes there's nothing to rehabilitate, then probation isn't going to work because they're not going to follow what needs to be done. I mean, why are we going to go through the process of that if it's set up for failure from the word go?
I don't believe that it'll be set up for failure.
Well, if I put you on probation, I'm going to have you go for a further psychiatric evaluation, for a further drug and alcohol evaluation.
Okay.
And my pretty concerted guess is that they're going to order some treatment on both ends. You don't think you have either of those problems. Therefore, you're not going to engage in the treatment. And we'll be right back here because you haven't complied. That's the problem we face right now.
I would comply. I think counseling would be good.
Well, so do I, but Based on everything you said in these reports and what you told me up until now, I mean, those are kind of empty words coming from you because you don't think there's a problem.
That's why I think something might be wrong with me.
I guess there's no question that you took those. You signed out those drugs representing them to be administered to other patients, and you didn't do that, okay? I guess the only thing that can be said for you at this point is that you didn't deprive these people of drugs that they should have gotten. Okay, so you at least had the sense to falsify on the side that didn't harm the patients.
That's why I had asked a witness, but I didn't ever think that he was going to say he didn't remember.
Ms. Blake?
Your Honor, the state of Ohio entered into an agreement with the defendant in this case to recommend community control, and that was based on the defendant having no criminal history. It was based on the fact that the defendant, outside of this issue with Dilaudid, seemingly has the ability to be a productive member of society and to potentially do positive things. It was based on the defendant complying with her conditions of bond post-plea once the court reinstated her bond. And it appears that those things are still true. So again, the state certainly shares the same concern that the court has about the lack of accountability here. But we do have an agreement with the defendant in this case pursuant to plea negotiations to ask this court to adopt a jointly recommended sentence of community control. And I would ask that you do that. I do want to point one thing out about the nursing home staff in this case, Your Honor. You heard from one of the members of that staff, the assistant director of nursing, Ms. Mussel, and the defendant has said here today that the nursing home staff was out to get her once they became aware of her prior conduct in Wickliffe. That could not be further from the truth. The nursing home staff, and we talked to every single one of them, we went out to Vista Springs, they were very, very hesitant to fire Ms. Jernasik. She was an at-will employee. They could have fired her, just to fire her. They could have done that, but they didn't want to do that. They all expressed to us the severity of ruining her career, and they didn't want to do that without being sure of their suspicions. So they took those steps to investigate what was going on, and they did not want to ruin her career. And to a man, Your Honor, every single person that we spoke to told us, and this was unsolicited, they told us that Ms. Jernasik was well-liked and that she was a good nurse. And so that means one of two things to me. It either means that that was the act she put on so she could get away with this conduct, or it means she really, truly has that potential. And I'm hoping it's the latter. We're going to ask that you give her the opportunity on community control to hopefully prove that it is the latter. And I would defer to you, Your Honor, with respect to any sanctions that the court deems appropriate as part of her community control. Thank you.
Okay, I reviewed the pre-sentence report, the psychiatric evaluation, the details from the Ohio Attorney General report. I reviewed several letters in support of you that were submitted, all of which paint a very positive picture of you. As reflected by what Ms. Blake said about
Okay, she's a functional drug addict who's competent at nursing. I can see this quite clearly. However, you can't trust her. She not only stole the drugs, but now she won't take responsibility for it, even though she's stone cold busted. I can't imagine she will keep her license after this plea. I can't imagine that she would be allowed to continue to be a nurse. I'm being honest.
coworkers. Okay? So your problem is not that you're a bad person, not that you're not a hard worker. It's that you've got some problems, either psychiatric and or drugs and alcohol, that you just refuse to recognize. or don't want to accept. Okay? Until you do that, you're going to have continuing problems. That's just reality, all right? And it isn't going to, I mean, I could tell you that 10 more times and you're not going to believe me, all right? It's going to take you recognizing that. Whether you do or not is completely in your control. So I've considered all the applicable statutes. I'm going to place you on community control for 4 years. You're going to serve 12 days in jail with credit for 12. You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. I want you to get a psychiatric evaluation and follow all the recommendations. I want you to get a drug and alcohol evaluation, follow all the recommendations, maintain and obtain full employment, verifiable full employment. You're to see only one doctor. If you need more than one doctor, you have to inform the probation department of who that is. One dentist and one pharmacy for any prescription medication. You're to take medication only as it's prescribed. You're going to sign releases so probation can get your records, and you're going to pay the cost and supervision fees in this case. Ms. Crook, any other terms?
With regards to employment,
Verifiable
What about-
employment.
what about in the healthcare industry?
Well, I don't know who would hire her in the healthcare industry, so it's probably not in the cards. I don't know why you would want to go into the healthcare industry.
I do not.
Okay, so
I will not ever,
do you understand all the terms?
I believe, yes, Your Honor.
Any question about the terms?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, if you don't comply with the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control. And if it finds you violated, then you face 36 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If that happens when you get out, you might be on post-release control for up to 2 years under the parole authority with conditions. If you violate conditions, the parole authority could send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If that violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which is the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. Ms. Blake, anything else?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. No. Thank you.
Mr. Fatiga?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. You're adjourned.
Well, that was ugly, but I really like that judge. He's just a big pile of reasonable. I think it's the same judge I did the other one on in the last couple of days. He just makes a lot of sense, but I love when people try to BS him and he's just like, no, and it's just awkward. He just points out exactly what's wrong and then lets them stew in it. He's like, all I'm asking is that you would admit what's going on here. If you admit it and then you say, I've got an issue, then we can address it. If you're saying I don't have an issue, we can't address it. Even the prosecutor stands up and says, all right, yeah, like, I get it. We don't trust her either, but we made a deal. We're going to abide by it. I ask that you do it, but I'm holding my nose as I do. I think her career in healthcare is over. I hope she finds something else and gets her life straightened out. But I have serious doubts when she won't accept it. I have serious doubts. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. I will see you soon.